and on fire. But before we get into that, I'm going to welcome my buddy, my partner in crime, Mr. Chris Phoenix, to the show tonight. How the hell are you?
It's been a rough day at work, I'll be honest. And I'm just hoping to talk a little wrestling tonight, blow off a little steam, and hopefully give the listeners a little bit more of what they want. Back on there.
Oh, I hope this works because on YouTube it's frozen. Give me just a second. All right, we're just going to do this. If it doesn't work, I'll redo it later. All right, so let's start out. As much as I want to dive into this, I want to talk some sad news that we got earlier this week. Monday, we got some news about a legend in wrestling has passed away. Big Van Vader. Really, really sad. Passed away from complications with heart stuff, pneumonia. He was in the hospital for quite a while. Your thoughts on this dude?
It was a very sad thing to see him go. I really wish he could have done more in the short time he had. And despite the fact that a lot of people reached out to him, a lot of people said what he should do. He even reached out to the guru of rehabilitation himself, Diamond Dallas Page, and DDP said, the only way I'm helping you is if you quit wrestling, because you need to do this for your health. And Vader was like, I can't. I need to do this for money. So he shortened his own lifespan. He lived up to the hype that the doctors gave him originally. Said he only had 2 years to live from the diagnosis. And it was a sad thing to see him live up to that, because anybody who knew him, behind the scenes, knew how much of a warm and caring person he really was. He's a stand-up guy, and quite intimidating at first, but once he warms up to you, he's an all right guy. Several of his contemporaries and fellows in wrestling paid tribute to him on Twitter, obviously, as well as several of his former co-stars on Boy Meets World, including Danielle Fishel. And I saw that this morning, and I was like, he really touched a lot of people's lives. And I was happy to see that he was well remembered. He was revered. He was honored. And that's all anybody can ask, is if you do good things in this world, that you are honored by your contemporaries, by your fellows, and by your family and friends.
Yeah. And I'm letting you say all the stuff that you want to say, because when he was active as a wrestler, there's a whole chunk of time in the wrestling world that I just didn't watch, from early to mid-late 90s, when he was hot in WCW and a little after that in WWE. That whole time segment in wrestling, I just wasn't watching. I was in high school in the early 90s, and I was into other things. I didn't get back into wrestling until the late 90s, early 2000s, when the Attitude Era had almost done. It was almost done. So, I'm doing myself a favor, and I'm watching Big Van Vader matches on the WWE Network to learn more about him, to see what a great, because everyone's like, he was one of the greatest big guy wrestlers there was. And so I'm watching his matches with Davey Boy Smith, Ric Flair, Sting. I got a couple others I'm going to, watch a few with, like, Hogan.
Hogan Uncensored 92 or 93 was like his big match, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he had great great matches with so many guys back then in WCW. I haven't heard people say a lot about his time into WWE. I think most of his really great stuff was in WCW. From what I'm hearing from fans on the internet, people that are like sharing, like, hey, if you want to watch something, watch this, you know. And a few other people have reached out to me when I asked on Twitter saying, hey, what's your go-to Vader match? I want to watch some stuff because I want to learn about this guy. So, and that's the positive side of wrestling Twitter. Wrestling Twitter can be really shitty at times. So,
oh yeah, and it can also be a blessing in disguise, because when there's a community out there who can help you pull for resources to watch and pay tribute to a fallen legend like Vader, and bring together just like a litany of clips, it's going to be wonderful. And I'm pretty sure sometime this week on the network, WWE is going to put together a collection for him as well. And they damn well better if they know what's good for them.
Yeah, and put him in the Hall of Fame because he should have been in a decade ago.
Well, at least 5 years ago, half a decade, mice.
But yeah, I mean, he inducted, I don't even remember who he inducted. Stan Hansen? Stan Hansen.
Must have been.
And did the joke with the whole glasses and the eye popping out thing. And when he did that, I had no clue what that was. You know, everyone else got it that was a Vader fan. I had no clue what the heck that was. I'm like, what's with the eye thing? I just learned this week what that was, you know. So I want to have just a moment of silence in remembrance of Vader right now. So join me in that. Thanks. Here's to you, Vader. You're finally at peace and you got no more worries anymore wherever you are. All right. Now let's talk about someone who I connected with on Father's Day, like out of nowhere.
Who's that?
Let's talk about the new proprietor of Lucha Underground. Now, I happened to accidentally see Papa Cueto tagged in a tweet with Killer Cross.
Yeah.
As in, he was informing Killer Cross that he had a job for him in the temple. Something to that effect. And then I saw some other stuff, and I was like, oh, Antonio Cueto's got Twitter.
Wow.
So I followed him.
Mm-hmm.
He followed me back. Just like that. And, well, let's just hilarity ensued after that. I wished this was, you know, legit. I legit wished him a happy Father's Day for him and his, well, remaining son, Matanza.
Yep.
He said they made s'mores together. I just about fell out of my damn chair. I was laughing so hard. He also shared last week's show along with some other shows from, you know, across YouTube talking about Lucha Underground.
Mm-hmm.
But did not find favor with your imitation of Macho Man.
Ooh. You know what? I gotta say a couple of things first. I'd like to give a tip of the hat, Antonio Cueto. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. But then I'd also like to give you a flip of the bird for your commentary on my impressions. The rest of the wrestling community seems to love them. And if you take exception to that one, well, you know what? You ain't seen nothing yet. Porque yo soy Chris Phoenix de los Vaqueros del Invierno. Y si quieres hablar mierda sobre mis voces en Twitter, tú eres un pinche cabrón. Adios, Pedro.
And I'm guessing you just said like how nice his hair was.
Are you kidding? That ratty mess on top of his head, he does not have half the style and coif that his son Dario did. That guy was smooth.
He was. Antonio Cueto is quite the character and is now on social media. Go look up at Papa Cueto. And follow him. And it's about all I can say. It's just funny, you know. He's very interactive with whoever's trying to interact with him. So
and he will troll the shit out of you if you let him.
Yeah. He's not going to hold anything back. He's very what you get on the show is what you get on social.
Pretty much.
So it's priceless. And let's talk about this season 4, episode 2, Darkness and the Monster. Your first thoughts on this episode, Chris?
Actually, you know what the weird thing was? I think that the way they did it wasn't too bad. Remind me, what was the first match that they had? Was that the Trios Championship or was that the Gift of the Gods medal?
No, it was the Trios Championship match with the introduction of a new Infamous Inc.
Ah, yes. That one was a very auspicious opening. We were introduced to a trio of wrestlers, some of which a lot of people haven't seen before, and some of which are very familiar faces. For those of you who don't know out there, there was a former world heavyweight champion as part of this new trios faction under the tutelage of Famous B. And he goes by the name of J-Bone?
Jack. Oh, wait. You talking about his new name?
His new name. What is his new moniker in Lucha Underground?
The new name is The Savage Jake Strong. and like Matt Stryker said, this is so punny, it wasn't even funny.
Yeah.
He said that he brings a whole new bunch of swagger to the ring.
Matt Stryker, ever the historian in wrestling, brilliant as always, just laying it all out for the people who know the inside jokes, and I love it.
Yeah, he really is. I don't know if I said this last week, and because there was other things that I wanted to comment on that I'm going to comment on this week, because I either had so much to talk about last week and then you forget stuff you remember later. Man, and if I didn't say this, and if I did say it, whatever, I'm saying it again. Mm-hmm. I have missed Matt Stryker and Vampiro.
Yeah.
The way those two play off each other, some people call them the best team in commentary, and some just it is and appreciate them because it is a whole nother. It's not just calling a wrestling show.
Nope.
It's because there's a whole nother world that these guys are involved in. There's a bigger picture always. So they just work so well together. And a lot of it is off the cuff, I think, that they do together. And it's just priceless. I dig it. I missed it. Yeah, this Trios Championship match. Well, first, you know what? Before I forget it and skip over it, and we're going to come back to this because I love the people that they introduced. But let's talk about that opening segment with Katrina and King, almost said Cueto. I'm going to screw that up this season between Cuerno and Cueto.
Yeah.
King Cueto.
Well, he'd like to be called King, obviously, but anyway, yes, the within the domain, the hunting room of the mighty King Cuerno appears within throne the evil Katrina.
Yeah, and that's straight out of the trailer that we got a couple months ago.
Yep.
Where she just poofs in the chair out of nowhere. But before she appears, I want to point out something.
Yeah.
That is something so unique, and this is kind of like what some of the other, like, sci-fi, Marvel, DC nerds, when they're in a part of trailer and stuff like that, like little Easter eggs and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you see what was on the back wall?
No, I kind of missed that. What was there?
The first scene before they show the chair and she appears, they do pan across the back wall just to for like atmosphere. Like,
Yes.
oh,
Set the scene.
yes, exactly. He's got this on his wall. He's got this in, and he's got, what the hell is that? Okay, whatever that is, he's got this. One of the first things they show is this gun.
Yeah. That is a weird looking gun. You saw that too?
That's not usually when you see like hunting related stuff, you see like an elephant gun or something like that. I'm thinking like cartoonish kind of stuff.
Yeah, like you'd see in Chuck Jones stuff.
Yeah. This looked like something straight out of like, I don't know, first thing off the top of my head, like Star Wars or Halo or something.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Maybe it was another kind of weapon from one of Robert Rodriguez's movies. We don't know. I'd have to take another look at that and double check to see where that particular weapon comes from.
Yeah, that just might be an Easter egg from like another show. That's a great point. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
But my first thought is Cuerno's a hunter.
Oh, yeah.
And like he said in this scene, when Katrina appears, what the gauntlet.
The gauntlet of the gods.
Yes, they're talking about the gauntlet, and he said, I don't know where it is or when it is.
Really? That's what he said? I thought he said, I don't know where it is. I don't know when he hit it. And I don't know who he given it to.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that scene back again because I might have the wording off a little bit, but I'm pretty sure he said, I don't know where it is or when it is, or when he hit it. But still, that's still a time travel reference.
It's possible time travel reference, or perhaps a time of departure from a point between when he departed from Cuerno's asylum, actually hid the article in question. So we'll see.
Racist fan in the chat says, is he Chuck Norris secretly?
Not with hair that luscious. I don't think so.
Yeah, Chuck Norris was never that sexy. Nope. What do they call him in AAA?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Sexy chocolate. All right. So, and it just, if you watch the trailer, it ties in what he said in that scene in the room, talking about where and when, thinking, okay, this is going to tie in Aerostar somewhere down the road.
Because he is a time traveler of sorts.
He is a time traveler. And if Cuerno's tight with Aerostar, which is all new, because we've seen them together anywhere in the series, he's been a loner.
Oh, yeah.
Just picking out opponents.
But if you think about it, it would stand to reason that they would tap somebody like that, considering as much that he is a loner. It's like, who is the person we would least suspect for him to trust? And that seemed rather appropriate.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting. You talk about the where and the when and how they fit Aerostar into this exactly. Because we see him later. Like I said, we see him in the trailer. We see either Phoenix or
Drago.
I can't remember. I got to watch the trailer again.
Yep.
Something tells me it's Dragon Azteca Jr.
You know what? That would make a lot of sense now too.
I forget, but I know Aerostar and Cuerno are 2 out of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, to have Aerostar take it, hide it somewhere, That racist fan says in the chat, a hunter always needs a partner. That does not hurt. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
So, great scene between Cuerno and Katrina. And he's like, and Katrina's like, I need this. I can, because she's like stuck between two worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't give a shit. It's uncensored, beautiful. It's like, wow.
Nice.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he's not Italian. Never mind. But I don't know with that hair. No,
nah.
So great opening scene. The Trios Championship match was so much fun. So many new faces. Great to see Famous be back.
Yep. And doing his craziness as he does to try to set things up with collusion and ring awareness and acting the refs, even though it wasn't exactly in his favor this time. The one thing I just annoys the crap out of me, and probably righteously so, is the high screechy voice of the beautiful bosomy Brenda.
I think that's on purpose. The vroom vroom goes the caddy.
That's what he said, and that's what she did. Abadoops.
I think the best reaction of that whole thing was Mac looking at her like and then the way they edited that was just perfect. The way they caught it, so good camera work, good editing work. That was perfect.
Same thing goes for the time when he was listing off his usual phone number as in the promo, and Melissa's mouthing it along with the whole thing, and yeah, she's like, yeah, I know. Yep.
Oh, because everybody loves Famous B. Famous B got some. You got some love in the temple.
A little bit.
It did. So let's talk about some of these new faces we got. We got Big,
who looks like G-Rod without a mustache on a bad day, and long hair,
and much longer hair. Yes. Good to see that Steve Payne is still part of the show.
A little bit.
Little destroying kayfabe there. He played. What was his name? Pindar.
Really?
Last season, yeah.
Wow, did not know that.
Yeah. So when they killed off Pindar, it was like, oh, are they getting rid of Steve? Yeah, and there was something played I can't remember from the first two seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But Pindar was interesting, and then they killed him off. So it was like, and that's the thing about this show. Mm-hmm. You don't know how long people are contracted for. Some people have played 2, 3, 4 different characters on the show, and you just don't know because they're under a mask. That's the beautiful thing about this show. Like Mil Muerte's crew, the 3 guys with the skeleton masks.
Yeah.
They all played. One was like Argenis. Another guy was
El Mariachi.
Yeah, he's played a couple different characters, and he's Rabbit Tribe, I believe.
Might be.
Saltador.
Might be Saltador.
I was mixed up the two.
He's probably Saltador. He's not Mala Suerte. Mala Suerte is a little bit thicker.
Yeah, the Mala Suerte is the
little guy with the black mask with the mohawk.
He was not Bale.
Mm-hmm.
No. Cortez Castro's partner in crime.
Mr. Cisco.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting how they all, they stay with the show, but sometimes they get killed off, and I think some have been killed off 3 or 4 times, and you just don't know.
Hey, they keep using the right people. It makes for good character work. They got multiple characters to choose from when they hit out the indies.
And it's that. And it's job security if they keep bringing you back for other stuff. So,
hell yeah.
Obviously, so Big Bad Steve, part of the What happened in this match, the match itself was great. Ton of action. Great to see new faces. Even though at the end of the match, Famous B's crew seemed like a completely disintegrated. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, I don't think, say this right because I'm going to screw it up, Jake Strong is not staying with Infamous Incorporated.
Either that or he's going to be offered a much more lucrative deal teaming with Dr. Wagner Jr. and Tejano as the true Infamous Inc. And don't forget, one of the other members of that trio that night was also Sammy Guevara.
Oh, trust me, I was getting to that. Yeah, like racist fan in the chat says, my boy Sammy G. Sammy Guevara has been one of my favorite guys as a new fan. I'll call him new because I've been watching over the course of the last year. Number one, he's got his own YouTube channel that he's very interactive, sharing content all the time, once, twice a week now. So go look up his YouTube channel. Shows portions of his match behind the scenes. I mean, it's really compared to, I'm not going to call him the best, but just as far as the evolution of different people sharing parts of their lives on YouTube, dating back to like when Steen did it before he hit the WWE. He was very good at it, editing, sharing his own life. Someone else from Lucha Underground that's doing it right now is Martin Cassius, Marty who's also part of WrestlingWithWrestling.com. By the way, cheap plug, go to WrestlingWithWrestling.com, not now, later, and go check out all the wrestling content on there. This complete video will be later once we're done, which is interesting because you don't hear a lot of contract signing unless it's like with WWE. He signed a contract with Aero Lucha, another traveling Lucha Libre brand out there who's trying to get some TV, who also has a lot of Lucha Underground names on it, like, for current and former, Rey Mysterio is a big guy for their brand. Willie Mack, Mundo, Taya, just to name a few. He wrestles. He's from the Texas area, but he travels all over the U.S. If you want to learn the most about him, I'd say just look him up on YouTube. It's the quickest way you could educate yourself on him. Go check out his YouTube, which is incredible high flyer. He just debuted also for AAA. I'm hoping he can go back there sometime, on a bigger scale as more consistently. It'd be great for him. Great exposure south of the border. He's actually also going over to Japan for a month. That's going to be very interesting. He's going to be wrestling for D Pro. So can't wait to see him share his ventures overseas as well. So, and that's a feather in the cap for him. A lot of guys his talent level are getting invited over there, like Desmond Xavier, Zachary Wentz, both who have been on Impact recently. So, all sorts of indie guys are getting invited over there.
It's going to be interesting to see what he does when he returns from his excursion and what else he can bring to the wrestling world in the States.
And what else he's going to bring to the show, too. Yeah. It's all growth. It's all tremendous. He's really building his brand in 2018. So happy for him. Hopefully
someday we'll see him. We'll see him on 205 Live if the brand stays strong.
Demon Rock says in the chat, I'm psyched about the Thunder Rosa versus Taya feud. Yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait for that. That's coming up. Let's get to that next. Well, before I jump ahead, because this really was a significant part of the show with the new faces. Anything else you want to add about the new faces in this Trios Championship match?
Well, the one thing I will say about this is that the believers in the temple will chant anything you want them to if they believe in it strong enough or if they've heard it enough times. Like, for example, Famous B's famous 4-2-3 Get Fame. And something that was introduced in that Trios match toward the end, when all else fails, Jake established his strength with the chant of strong.
Oh, I'd say he just about got one of the biggest pops of the show. He showed up. I mean, he got a holy shit chant when he walked in.
Yep. You can't say nothing about that. That guy's a bona fide world champion from WWE who is debuting on Lucha television. That is big news, big debut, and hopefully more awesome to come for Jake Strong.
Oh, I think we are going to see a lot more of him this season, and I can't wait to see what he. And it's, you hadn't seen him on TV in a while, and you forget how talented he is and what he can really bring. And I'm not going to say he was underutilized in the WWE towards the end.
We all know he was, but half of that was injury, half of that was booking.
Yeah, and he started out, well, it's pardon the pun, he started out strong in the WWE and then just kind of slowly went down towards the end there. And yeah, they made a big deal about how big he was. Size and strength was a big thing. How they're like, he walked past the desk and they were like, wow, and that's interesting. So, it's all adjectives, it's descriptive, and it all is like, you forget little qualities about these guys when, like I said, when you hadn't seen them in a while. So that, they did a great job of putting him over, but they really didn't need too much because the crowd was like really behind these guys.
Yes, his reputation precedes him.
Yeah. So let's get to the next one. I got to throw in there. He did tear up Infamous Incorporated at the end when they did lose. Great match, though. I don't want to take away from the action that was in the ring. The match itself was great.
Oh, hell yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, like you said, to see what Strong does by himself, or possibly, maybe getting some bigger figures for Infamous Incorporated as a solo act. We'll see. We'll see. Next, we have an announcement from Antonio Cueto about the Gift of the Gods tournament. We're starting to get matches for one of the ancient Aztec medallions.
And we don't even know which one it is.
Oh, that's right. They are specific, aren't they?
Yes, each of them representing one of the tribes of the ancient Aztecs.
They're supposed to be representing, yeah. Well, I'm guessing Azteca Jr. did win this one against Drago. Great match, though. They did say, and I've never heard him say this before. This little thing stood out, said that Dragon Azteca Jr. is representing the Eagle tribe. Have you ever heard them say that before?
Yes, as a matter of fact, during his trios run with Rey Mysterio, they made a point to say that during last season.
And Puma?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
When they were up for the championships or had won the championships at one point.
I was trying to remember who they. I was like, oh, that's right, Trios champion. Yeah, you forget who. Yeah, and Havoc in the last match, he's like what, a 3-time Trios champion. He just kind of slid into this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting. Now that Dragon Azteca Jr. has one of the ancient Aztec medallions. I just love how that just all flows. The ancient Aztec medallions. The end of the match, though, very comical because in the loss of Drago, Cobra Moon, frustrated while she's checking on him, who shows up?
Ooh.
Someone from the worldwide underground.
Ooh. Would that be the mayor of Slamtown himself, Mr. Johnny Mundo?
Oh, cue the music. Welcome to Slam. Yes, absolutely. Johnny Mundo shows up. And something also very interesting about this crowd, which I've heard other shows talk about the crowd in its how the crowd has been throughout the seasons, this crowd being the most, I'll say, unique. Every crowd before has been very against Johnny Mundo and his crew.
True.
And was very shocked that when he showed up, they were like all for him. He got, which he's never gotten a pop before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe in the first season a little.
Yeah, but think about this. When he showed up initially, people were very surprised and very for him showing up. It showed his wherewithal, it showed his strength, his talent, and his grit and determination to stay in the wrestling business, and not just stay, but get to the top of whatever promotion that he happens to be in. And in this particular instance, the fans are coming back from a massive hiatus, and anybody who's in that temple is not just your casual everyday I might watch a wrestling match fan. No, these are die-hard Lucha fans. These people know what Johnny is capable of everywhere he's been. So considering as much, he has lost his title, he's gone to Impact and made a name for himself as a kind of a not necessarily a face, but more of a tweener. So, considering as much, he is making a return in somewhat of that capacity. He's still got that edge to him, as only Johnny Mundo can. But at the same time, he is also well received by his fans, the true believers of the temple.
Oh, yeah. That he is. And he did not come alone tonight.
Oh, yeah? Who has he got?
He brought his main squeeze, and they just got married recently in Slamtown.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say the first lady of Slamtown, I think we'll say.
Yeah.
Taya.
Yeah, I'm definitely digging me some Taya. Considering that as much we would get Taya count them 2 days a week, Wednesday and Thursday. More Taya the better.
Which we're missing it right now, but that's okay.
I got it on DVR. I'm okay with that.
That's right.
Can't wait to see her work her way up to the Knockouts Championship. Waiting for that to happen and waiting for her to dominate and have a really good feud. I'm looking forward to that.
It'll happen someday. It's a trickle effect. Some get really pushed quickly, and some it's like, all right, let's just enjoy the presence of this new person in the Knockouts division. And Taya's done a little bit of winning and losing in Impact Wrestling. As much as I wanted her to just boom, go for that championship, it's been nice, Yep. But yeah, she showed up in the temple, attacks Cobra Moon, and Damon Rocks says in the chat earlier, psyched about the Thunder Rosa Taya feud. So. And I don't think it's just going to be Thunder Rosa and Taya, though, or Cobra Moon and Taya. It's going to be Worldwide Underground versus
the Reptile Tribe.
The Reptile Tribe. Or is it the Lizard Tribe? I always get that.
It's the Reptile Tribe. If I remember correctly, that's what Stryker called them.
I always get that confused.
I did it first too. But you know what? Here's something to look forward to the future. As you were saying that they kind of eliminated Pindar last season. That means technically they've only got Drago and Vibora and Daga left. Daga was being groomed since, I believe, midway through season 2 when Cobra Moon debuted, when she had her eye on him. And he has become a member of the tribe now.
He is her king.
Mm-hmm.
He is the king. Not too successful in that first episode in the Aztec Warfare.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't care who you are. You're going up against Pentagon Dark, El Cero Miedo. You do not survive the breaking of the arm.
Yeah, and we'll get to him in a little bit because our main event. Mm-hmm. And I had a thought, and it just scooted out of my head.
Don't you hate when that happens, J-Bone?
I do. It's all part of getting old, and it sucks, and you lose your hair, and you get gray hair sticking out of parts of your body where you don't want gray hair sticking out of parts of your... Oh, I'm sorry. We're live.
Nice. I forgot about that one.
Oh yeah. It's yeah. Senile J-Bone moments.
That's okay, J-Bone. I'm getting up there too.
Oh, so let's talk about Katrina is all over this episode. She then shows up in Queto's office unexpectedly.
Dios mío, ¿tú eres un fantasma?
And I he's like, "What are you, ghost?" And that took me a second. I was like, "Wait a minute, el hijo de fantasma." And when I ever hit the translate thing, it's like son of the ghost. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. What are
There's
you?
that
Ghost?
guy who was that other thing in the other place with the guy and the thing. There was three of them. You know that play, that thing.
And thank you for Google Translate. You know,
because otherwise I would have forget.
For old fat balls like me who forget Spanish from over 25 years ago in high school, and all I remember is "Donde está el baño?"
It's a good thing to know when you're in Mexico.
Yeah. Where's the bathroom? And don't drink the water.
Thank you. We'll be here all week.
Try the pork.
On second thought, don't.
I grill a mean pork chop. I just want to throw that out there. So Katrina shows up in Queto's office, and he's got this look on his face like he hasn't had wood in about 40 years. Like the wood in his hand, the cane with the bowl on, was like not the only wood in the office.
Well, there was also the desk and a couple of chairs. I get what you're saying there. See what you did there.
He was all kinds of. Oh, who are you?
I can see you out of my one good eye.
And this is why I shouldn't drink on the show.
And to think, she's actually older than him.
Yeah, what is she, like 1,000 years old? Not
something like that.
She don't look too bad for 1,000 years old. I hope I look half that good at.
What do you want?
I can't wait to hear him talk about that if he watches this one. And yes, he's getting tagged in this, by the way. Next week, grave consequences. Katrina wants Phoenix dead.
That's my boy.
How?
You ain't going down without a fight.
Can you kill Phoenix?
He's like, can I kill? No, but I can put him in a match. You know, so he does.
Yeah, he got excited for a second. He's like, "You want me to kill him?" She's like, "No, I got over. Just make the match." Because Mil Muertes apparently is gonna take care of him, which we find out later that may not be so easy. Yeah, like I want to say this right. Armitage. Katrina started glitching. Yes, that was very unique. How they doing a little bit of special effects because he's like stuck in the two. What the hell was that movie? 13 Ghosts.
Yes.
Same special effects. Pretty freaking awesome. I love it. Just a simple little, like, whoa, what's up with this? So yeah. So next week, now this changes later a little. But we get the announcement of grave consequences. Phoenix versus Mil Muertes. That by itself is pretty flippin' awesome. That's an instant.
AKA the Four Corners casket match.
Yeah, because they've got caskets everywhere. It's going to be interesting because this is a different temple. It's a different time. Different proprietorship. Is that a word?
I believe so.
Google that. I'll have my assistant Google that. Can you Google that? Thank you. Get back to me on that. Proprietorship. Just do it. All right.
Yes, that is a word.
It is.
Sole proprietorship, also known as the sole trader or simply a proprietorship, is the type of enterprise that is owned and run by one natural person and in which there is no legal distinction between the owner and the business entity, aka Antonio Cueto.
And this is why I love having Chris Phoenix on the show.
I do what I can.
He do. The main event of this show for the Lucha Underground Championship, Pentagon Dark, which is another thing I have to get used to saying again for this show. I just usually call him Pentagon wherever he goes.
Yep.
But he's Pentagon Dark on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Versus Matanza, the last remaining son of Antonio Cueto. A very good match, but also a very interesting match. Did you notice how Matanza was in this match?
No, it kind of escaped me. I mean, like, he was a little bit more slow and methodical, not as much kill you so much as defending himself, I would say.
He looked like I noticed this more
in the ring.
Yes. And my only constructive criticism for some matches that I see is I want them longer. But we have an hour, so it is what it is. You know, they lines and usually 3 matches in a show, which is, you can't complain for like a loaded hour, you know.
Hell yeah.
I would have wanted more from this match, but it is what it is. So if I had to give constructive criticism anywhere in the show, is I wanted a longer match out of these two. So I noticed that Matanza, if you go back and watch this, you'll notice it. Mm-hmm. Matanza gave very little offense and looked just lost.
Yeah.
He looked lost. What is the main factor that is missing from this match?
Dario screaming orders from the office.
Get Dario, period.
Yep. Yeah.
We don't have Dario at the side of Matanza. What do we have now?
We've got technically nobody, at least in this particular instance, until right after the match happened.
We've got Papa Cueto, Antonio Cueto.
Yep. And
the look on Matanza, well, you can't say the look on his face, because you had to get the body language, and it was like, oh, this all of a sudden got really dark.
You know what? This is something to mind. Remember in seasons past when Dario was discussing his family's past and how things went with their mother? That their mother was the abusive one. I don't remember Dario mentioning the father. I'm wondering if Dario was confusing one for the other, or if they were one and the same.
I don't know. I got a feeling this is like might be part of a time hop we're going to witness somewhere later in the series, where we're going to get a little bit of backstory on the father, possibly the mother. You know, I mean, we saw a little bit of time hopping throughout the last couple seasons regarding stuff with like Aerostar, like when he was with his he visited the ancient Aztec tribe. They were talking to him about something with the gods, and then he showed up at the temple. Something like that, you know. So, and I would not be surprised if we get some kind of backstory, a little more on Antonio.
And a little bit more on Matanza and why he was so scared.
Yeah, because that was great. That was like really unique. Usually Matanza's just a badass, throws people around. This was his, and they made a big point to say this too. I wrote this down. This was his first singles loss.
That's true.
That's huge.
Remember when he actually lost the Lucha Underground Championship? That was not a one-on-one match, was it?
No, that was I want to say that was Ancient Aztec Warfare.
Huh.
I think that's how that went.
Can't remember who won it, but yeah, I think that's right.
Was that
Can't remember if that was Phoenix or if that was Mil Muertes who took it or what.
I don't remember.
We'd have to look
Man,
that up.
there's been so much good wrestling. It's like some of it's a little blurry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. So Pentagon successfully defends his championship. Antonio comes out, whips his son, and they walk in the back. And then we show Cueto going in his office, and he's pacing and he's pissed, throws the key on the desk, and I almost said Jeremiah Crane.
Yes, yeah.
AKA Callahan, showed up for the first time. Was it the first time? I don't think we saw him last episode.
No. Last episode he was not around.
Because there was a lot of people that showed up for like 5 seconds in that first Aztec Warfare match. It was like, hey, it's so and so. Oh, they're gone. You know, it's like I couldn't remember if he was one of them. Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, he was eliminated about halfway through, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they all lasted like 5 seconds.
Oh, and just for further edification, the Aztec Warfare 3 match, date being looks like April 9th of 2016, at least that's when it was taped. Oh yeah, it showed in November 16th of last year. During the Aztec Warfare match, this was the one where Matanza was like quadruple teamed in order to eliminate him from the match. And ultimately, what happened was Sexy Star lastly eliminated Mil Muertes to win the championship.
Oh, that's right.
So that was her reign. What happened?
It was short and sweet, too.
Yeah. And considering how many guys it took to take down Matanza.
Matanza and, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, there is, it's going to be really interesting to see how Matanza evolves in this season. It's going to be really weird because he's usually just a bloodthirsty badass. He started out in this series in season, well, he was shown in season 1, but not like he was like a mystery person.
Yep.
Season 2, he started out by like feeding on like people, like
people's bones and stuff.
Yeah. Just eating people in another temple on the other side of town while Dario sat outside and sold tickets.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't sick. So you can think of all the dark stuff that Dario does, and now Papa Cueto showed up, and it's like, but he's worse than his son. Oh my God, what the hell are we in for?
The question is, who is darker?
Yeah, we're going to find that out really quick, aren't we? So next week, thanks to the Jeremiah Crane showing up in the office, he wants his old fling back. He is a heartbroken, puppy love, sick bastard. I don't know.
Jealous ex-boyfriend.
And jealousy is a strange thing. So yeah, he wants in on the Grave Consequences match, which then it becomes a 3-way to the grave match. First ever. Jeremiah Crane versus Mil Muertes versus Phoenix with Katrina on a pole. Gonna throw that in there.
Oh, I'm sure Jeremiah would love that.
Katrina on a pole.
To get your mind out of the gutter for a second.
Oh, sorry. We were live. Damn, that happened again.
God.
Anyways, it's warm in here. Damn. So yeah, we are getting a crazy match next week with 3-way to the grave. Muertes, Crane, Phoenix, and I don't think we have anything else previewed.
I think, if anything, there might be another match for one of the ancient Aztec medallions to lead into the chase for the Gift of the Gods Championship. But aside from that, I think if this match is intense as making it out to be, this match would probably last half the show. So the first match or set of matches will be very short ones, if that. If there's even 3 matches to begin with. If not, there's only going to be one match for the ancient Aztec medallions, one little cut scene that we are looking forward to, and last but not least, the 3-way to the grave match that is going to tear the house down next week.
Demon Rock says, I want to know if you want to see Killshot at Ultimo Lucha 4. That'd be a hell of a match. Jerry Campos says, I want a Killer Cross Kevin Cross debut. Yes, I want that too. I can't wait to see his character show up as part of the Rabbit Tribe and what the hell he's going to do with his powers and stuff. That's going to be crazy. Shit, probably tomorrow during the day or something.
Yep.
Which means I got to stay on social media. One of these spoilers now, whatever. Yeah, Killer Cross. He's not Kevin Cross, Killer Cross. And but it's going to be interesting what they call him in this show. So, but I'm sure he's going to show up soon. But we got a long way to go. We got till middle of November. So, and hopefully season 5 gets tapings get announced soon as well. That'd be great. That'd be tremendous. So let's hope we start seeing stuff for that over the course of the next couple months. That'd be perfect. Then they can actually like keep the flow of the show going. You know, that's what we really want to see. Armitage says Jack Evans is in season 4. Yes, Jack Evans is in season 4. To what degree, I don't know. But the Worldwide Underground is in season 4 to some degree. That's all I know. But that was pretty much it from what I heard for Jack Evans.
They might lose their junior member, but other than that, they will be back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, and you never know how contracts are going these days with this show. You know, we're gonna see some people killed off this season. We'll see. I don't know.
Oh hell yeah! Looking forward to a lot more of that and several other things.
Lots of violence, blood for the bloodthirsty. What is that? Bloodthirsty believers? Is that what Antonio Quinto says?
Yep.
Bloodthirsty. How do you feel about being a bloodthirsty believer?
I'm not so much of a bloodthirsty believer. I'm more of a true believer. Excelsior.
Excelsior. Oh, okay. I see what you did there. Talking about a certain individual's tattoo. Certain individual's tattoo.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Yes, yes. So, any last thoughts on this episode before we cut out of this?
Well, considering what they've done for the first 2 episodes, I can't wait for the third one, and I'm hoping that it only gets better from here. The last thing we need is a sequel that doesn't live up to the hype. But considering how good Robert Rodriguez has dealt with this series so far, I can only hope for good things.
Oh, so, yeah.
We'll see you next time at the matches.
in the temple. Oh, last thing. Wanted to throw this in there. And I don't remember if I said this last week. How cool is like the one entrance at the top of the stairs in the temple with the fog coming out of it? What does that remind you of?
It reminds me of a rock concert I saw in '87, man, back in the day. It was heavy metal, you know. That was some rocking stuff back down the Sunset Strip, dude. If I did the Roxy or the Palladium, man, bro, that was cool.
New Shermanor, dude. New Shermanor, dude.
Shermanor, dude. Dude, yeah, Heartbreaking Poison, man. White Lion, you know. LA Guns, Poison, you know.
London.
Nah, man, Europe.
No, it reminds me of classic WCW when they used to record the stuff in the studio, and they had that entrance where the doors slid open and the
Oh,
fog poured.
WCW Saturday Night. Oh God.
Yeah, that totally reminds me of classic WCW. I used to watch it as a kid on like Saturday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, this was like before I went to high school and I stopped watching wrestling for several years. I remember, Four Horsemen, Luger, oh God, Flair, Sting, all these guys on that show, and they open up the doors and the fog pours out. When they showed that last week, and the door slides open, and it's a great little throwback. I'm not sure if that was their intention, but that's what I saw it, and being an old wrestling fan, maybe we'll start calling J-Bone vintage J-Bone.
Don't quit your day job, Michael.
Yeah, it's not quite as cool as when Michael Cole says vintage Orton. It doesn't roll off the tongue. Never mind. Anyways, so we're going to wrap this up for this week. We've rambled on long enough. Lucha Underground Season 4, Episode 2 is in the books. Loved Darkness and the Monster, which was our main event. Pentagon Dark versus Matanza the Monster. And it took me like the entire episode to figure that out. So, yeah. Tremendous. Can't wait till next week. We've got Three-Way to the Grave for the heart and literally the soul of Katrina. For this guy, Chris Phoenix, I am J-Bone. This is Smash This Podcast, and we'll see you guys down the road real soon. Thanks for watching. And if you didn't catch all this, head on over to wrestlingwithwrestling.com. That's where this episode will be in its entirety real soon. Good night, folks.